Hi Flosstube, it's Karen, recovering monogamous stitcher. I'm back with Flosstube number 9. This is Friday, December 23rd, 2022. If you're a subscriber and returning, I'm so happy to have you back again. Thanks for stopping by. If you're brand new here, and you're very welcome, and I wonder how you found me. Did I show up on your feed? Did you hear somebody mention me? If so, I'd love to know so I can thank whoever that is who mentioned me. Maybe you were drawn in by the thumbnail photo and saw the picture of the quilt that's hanging behind me. If so, and if you would like to see close details of that quilt, you can go to my video number 6, and I gave close-up shots of that quilt. I won't be doing that this time. I have shown all 3 quilts that I brought to Florida with me this season, and so this one is now back planted in this spot, and it'll be behind me for the rest of the videos that I record while we're here. I have lots to show today, so I want to get started. I'm going to start with the questions from last video. I've had 3 finishes, yay me. I have WIPs to show you. I have a Christmas pattern parade to show, and that will explain why I should never ever buy another Christmas pattern for the rest of my life, ever. So let's get started. The questions from last time, someone asked, what tree do you put up? Ta-da! Whoops, I pulled it over here so you could see it. As I've told you before, we are in a double-wide mobile home in Florida for the winter, so I do not have much storage space, and I don't have much display space. So when we were thinking about, you know, what would we do a tree, what would we do for Christmas, I decided it would have to be something that would stay up all the time because I don't have any place to store it. So I did not want a Christmas-looking pine tree-ish looking thing. But this, I thought this was the perfect solution. We got it on Amazon. I'm not sure if it's called 5 feet tall or 6 feet tall, but it looks like a birch tree. And I change things out seasonally. Like you can see, I have the Christmas ornaments that I showed in the last video hanging on it. And after Christmas, I'll take the Christmas ones off, Preschooler Santas and the flamingos and so forth, and I will leave Glitter Village up because to me they look wintry. And then in January I add snowmen, just some little ornaments I bought from Amazon. In February the theme is hearts because of Valentine's Day and my birthday is in February. And then in March we go right to my spring things that I have. I have lots of bunnies and Easter eggs and things like that, and you know, that holds us till the end of the time that we're here. So this is the tree that I put up. I like it, and it's kind of nice. It provides us some extra light in this room. There's no overhead lighting in here, and there are 2 lamps, and so this adds some nice extra light early in the morning and in the evening. So so anyway, I leave it up all the time, and I don't care what anyone thinks about it because I like it. So Rosa Sugars. 2 very eagle-eyed subscribers last time told me that I missed a leaf in Rosa Sugars. And I did, I really did. And once I saw it, I couldn't believe I missed it. It is right down here. I filled it in now. And once they pointed it out, it's like that's the first thing I noticed when I looked at it. So I have fixed it, and I thank those subscribers. Thank you very, very much. I can't imagine what my reaction would have been if I'd gotten it framed and then down the road noticed, oh my gosh, I left off a leaf. That I would not have been happy. So I really appreciate that. Okay, another thing I want to cover this time, because I talked about blocking quilts, and I have forgotten to cover that, answer that every video since the time I mentioned that. Blocking a quilt, much like blocking other kinds of work like knitting and so forth, or whatever other kinds of handwork needs to be blocked, is done by getting it wet and squaring it up. Now, if you're a quilter and you're making a quilt that's going to go on a bed, it's going to be used, it's going to be loved, it's going to be washed, you would never ever have to even think about blocking a quilt. If a quilt judge isn't going to come along, you would never block a quilt. Now, some quilters might be interested in knowing how to block if you're making, for example, a wall hanging and you want it to hang nice and square and straight. You might consider blocking that. Now, some professional quilters, or more serious quilters than I, have specialized ways that they do this. I do it very low tech. My family room has carpeting on the floor, so I have a plastic tarp meant for painting, but it's reserved specifically for that purpose, and I spread that on my carpet. I then spread out the quilt that I'm going to square up, and I have done this for a couple full-size quilts, so it's kind of a pain. I crawl around on the floor, but you have to make sure your corners are 90 degrees, and I have my acrylic quilting rulers. I have a 15.5-inch square that I use for my corners, and I have my 6-inch by 24-inch acrylic ruler that I slide along the edge. And so what you do is you make your quilt damp. I don't get it soaking wet. I use my sprayer like I use when I'm going to iron. Get it damp, especially your edges, because that's where you want it to kind of tighten up. So I get it damp, and then I go along, get my corner square, pin, 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 right into the carpet and the padding, and that'll hold it. And then, you know, slide my ruler along, pin, 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 pin. When I get it all the way around, I measure diagonally, corner to corner, diagonal corners, both ways. That measurement should be exactly the same, whether your quilt is square or if it's rectangular. It should be exactly the same. And if it's not, you have to figure out where you have to adjust and make sure it stays square at the corners and that your edges are nice and straight. Then what I do is I blow fans across it. So it's laying on the plastic sheet, pinned down to the carpet and padding that's underneath it, and we just blow fans. It would be nice if it would happen during the winter so the furnace is running, but I'm always doing this in the summer for some reason. That's when the fairs are, or when I'm getting quilts finished, I guess. So you could do that with a wall hanging, and if the wall hanging is small enough, you could do that on a table and maybe have you know, that foam core insulation board like Mr. Enabler used to make my design wall. And then you could pin it into that foam. But I've done it with large quilts, and I don't have a table that could hold it. Some professional quilters that I have read their descriptions of how they do it, they might have a laser light that shines a beam. So, you know, I've slide my acrylic ruler, but they have a laser light, so they have an absolute straight line. That would be a great thing to use. But it's a matter of making the quilt kind of want to stay in that shape. And if it's been damp and it dries that way, it will tend to stay. And I have heard some professional quilters say that after a few shows they have to reblock their quilts. Well, I don't do that. I don't do multiple submissions and all that, so I haven't had to do that. So if you're a quilter, you might do that for a wall hanging, or if you're going to enter a quilt in a show, yes, you want to do that. It's a pain in the neck, but obviously it needs to be done because, you know, the quilt judge said my edges did not lie straight. So, okay, that's blocking a quilt. And there are all kinds of videos available online. You can look up blocking a quilt and see how different people do it. But that's how I do it. Okay, so I did Rosa Sugars. I have some finishes. Yay me. Bird Crush Club. This is the December, the last one for Bird Crush Club, and it is the Red-Faced Warbler. That's number 12. I'm all done with Bird Crush Club. And I have white frames at home in Kentucky, and this little guy, the November and the December little guys, will join the rest of the flock when we get back. Okay, Redbird Sampler, finished. This is by Brenda Gervais. I stitched it on 40 count cream and no, not right. 40 count grog from Bestitch Me. And I used all DMCs. And I think it turned out beautifully. I love the texture that shows from the grog. So that's a fabric I would reorder from her. And my red sampler, Helene Schnoor. Done. posted this on Instagram too, but you may have seen it there. Isn't that pretty? I did 2 strands, 2/2, DMC floss. It was, oh, I don't have my book in front of me. That was a mistake. 38 something, 28. It's, when you buy the pattern, Judy says which color, DMC color, is closest to the antique, and that's what I went with. My linen is 36 count, and I don't know the name of it because for some reason I didn't have a label on it. Must have been something I bought when I was a newer stitcher and just did not know to keep track of that. So those are my finishes. I'm really happy with that. Since the last Flosstube, in addition to finishing these, I worked on my focus piece. And if you've been here before, you're probably sick of hearing this, but if you're new, I always have my oldest WIP as a focus, and I keep track of how many days I stitch on it. I require myself to stitch on my focus 7 days every month. So this is Christmas at Hollyberry Farm by Stacy Nash. This is my current focus piece. And I have stitched on this, my required, of course, my personal requirement, my rules, my stitching, my rules, so I can do it however I want, but I stitched 7 days on this. I'm getting some really good progress. The border is done down both sides. I have to do the border across the bottom. The house is huge, of course, and lots of other things to fill in that space. So, and I had to correct, I think I told you last time, I had, of course, made mistakes. The house was 2 stitches too wide, so that messed up the roof and everything. So I had to take that out and redo. So it's back on track. So that's my focus. That'll remain my focus until it is done. So next month, it'll get another 7 days. Okay. Next one I worked on is Rose Ada Featherstone. This was my birthday start this year. It's from Hands Across the Sea. Brenda and the Serial Starter, her latest episode showed this one that was a little bonus that came at the back of the book. She is going to start it and stitch it in wool. I planned to stitch it, but I wasn't even considering wool. I'm thinking DMC will work for me. So anyway, this pattern has 2. And I showed this one, I believe, probably from my very first video, that after I started it, I thought it was too bright. And I had 2 methods I was going to try, and I am going to try. And I've done my practice. I've done my samples, and I know what I'm going to do. So let me first show you this. I, of course, made mistakes in the border, had to take it out. And why I did not do the half stitches like Sherry, Colorado Cross Stitcher, says, do half stitches around for your border, and then you know it's going to fit. And then if you have to take it out, you're only taking out half stitches, not full stitches. Very smart. So it has now met up. I'm working on that. I got the angels done. I did the lion and the unicorn and that little pot of flowers right above them and that crown. So that's where I am. Now, I did my experiment. When I finished the border, I knew where I could trim it off. So I did. I cut it off so that I had the exact same fabric. So when I did my practice, it would be exactly the same fabric, not just something similar. So I cut off 2 pieces, and then the light colors of thread, I wanted to make sure they were not going to look muddy. So I did the sample stitching on each of them, the same colors, and I lined them up like that so that I could see what did the colors look like. And they didn't turn out muddy either way. This was coffee dye. I set the timer for 10 minutes, but I pulled it out at about 6.5 or 7, and I thought it looked like it had taken enough color, so I rinsed it and let it dry, and this is what it looks like. Colors look good, no issue. Now, I used the antiquing spray. I was going to bring it over here to show you again. It's from Primitive Gatherings, antiquing spray. And this is how that turned out. Now, you see all the speckles there? It's not because it was dripping on the fabric. It's because the spray from the spray bottle was not fine. Big droplets came out, so it's spotted all over. So just like with my Mary Ellen's Best Press, which I love the product, but the spray bottle is awful, so I bought a better spray bottle dedicated to that. I'm going to do that with this antiquing spray because I can see that I like the color, and if it just has a better spray bottle, I'll be perfectly happy to use it. But I'm not going to do that on Rosetta Featherstone. I'm going to do the coffee dye. Let me show you the difference here, if I can, without dumping it all over the place. See, that'll just tone it down so those bright colors won't look quite so, I don't know, glaring, garish, I don't know, anyway. So that solves my dilemma about what I'm going to do with Rosetta Featherstone. That decision's made. Okay. So those are my WIPs. Let's see, and dyeing samples. Okay, a Christmas pattern parade. Let me move this stuff over. Sorry. Okay. Okay, like I have said, we now Christmas here in Florida in this mobile home. I do not have storage space or really much display space. I already have up what I've brought down here, and I finished that, the Fat Quarter Shop, their Merry Little Christmas mystery stitch along. And I just popped that into a frame the other day, and I have no place to put it. So I'm already at the end of my really nice display space, but I have a ton of Christmas patterns. Now, I want to stitch them, but I have no business ever buying another Christmas pattern again in my life. I have more than I need, probably more than my kids will want or need. So I'll stitch them for the love of stitching. But if I ever say, oh, I must buy that Christmas pattern, reach right through that screen and shake me by the shoulders until I come to my senses, will you please? So I want to show you all the Christmas patterns I have that I've not yet done. Okay, of course I have the Blackbird Designs book, Home for the Holidays. I stitched the 'Tis the Season piece in it, but I haven't gotten to any of the other things. I want to do the stockings. I want to do this little bird on the house. I love that one too. But, you know, time, space, all that. So this is full of projects. Another Blackbird. The bells on Christmas Day. Beautiful projects in here. And clever things made like, I think this is called a thimble bag. Very cute. And this, I have this box from Joann's. And I want to do that little piece and paint the box. I have the box, I haven't painted it yet, but so that's a plan. Again, and this is just full of wonderful pieces to stitch. Another Blackbird, Early Christmas Morning. This little drum pin cushion, so pretty. So pretty, and I just haven't gotten to it yet because there's only so much time. Okay, Prairie Schooler, Santas. Now I have 4 completed on the tree. I have stitched, and I don't count them as WIPs because they're stitched. They're not like partial stitch. I have 2 more that I've already stitched on the Davos, ready to be finished. I did not bring that backing fabric with me that I used on the other ones, and I want them all to match. And I have space on this for at least 2 more, maybe 3 if I space them out right. I have another one. What year is that? 2008. I have the 2021. Haven't stitched that one yet. I have another 3 in this, the Revisited 8, Santa's Revisited 8. I have another 3 in Santa's Revisited 2. Now, at one point, I thought I would try to collect all of the Prairie Santas, but I'm not going to do that. This is plenty. You know, by the time I get these done and on the tree, that little tree is going to be mightily weighted down. So that's Prairie Schooler Santas. So what was that? 3, 6, 8. I have 8 more patterns to stitch, and I have 4 done. So there's plenty to go there. And then I have just the sweetest little, this is JBW Designs. Isn't that sweet? I love that. It has the scissor fob and the ornament. I love her finishing ideas too. That's JBW Designs. Another darling ornament. Little House Needleworks. What's it called? Ding Dong Merrily on High. Another sweet little piece. Another Prairie Schooler called Dear Santa, but this is bigger than an ornament. I would frame it. 2006 limited edition. Hands-on Design, Joyeuse Noël. I think that's how it's pronounced. I never took French. I should have, but there you are. But the beautiful colors, I love that design. I want to stitch them. And I will. Country Cottage Needleworks, Merry Christmas. Isn't that sweet? Love that frame. I would love to get that. And then I have a lot of freebies. Some of them I can't show because they're just a chart. There's not a picture of a finish. It's just the chart, so I can't show it all. Now, some of these have a picture, and I've covered up the chart. So this is from Hands-On Design, Mary. You've probably seen that all over. That is very popular. And I'll bet Kathy is sorry she didn't publish that instead of giving it away as a freebie, because everybody just loves that one. That's Mary. I've got to do that one. Have to get that done. Love it. This one is from Puntini Puntini. It's a little gingerbread. It was free in 2021. What's it called? Gingerbread. It's just called Free Christmas 2021. A little round. Cute. This is from Luminous Fiber Arts, a freebie, Joy. Another beautiful little red round, beautiful ornament. When did she come up with that? This was 2021. This one's from Pineberry Lane in 2014. I love that primitive looking Santa. Ho, 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 1887. Pineberry Lane. Whilst Iris Naps. Beautiful pin drum. What does it say on it? All is calm. It's beautiful. Love it. Love the holly border at the top. Okay, this is from Fat Quarter Shop. I haven't done it yet. Letters from Santa. Letters to Santa or from Santa? To Santa, of course. You don't get letters from Santa. Letters to Santa. Darling finish. Threadwork Primitives. I love the primitive look of this. There's a whole series of these beggar. This is the Beggar's Christmas Pin Keep, and I have the Halloween, Beggar's Halloween or something it's called. There's a whole series of them. I know there's 4th of July or something. Anyway. Okay, another prairie schooler. I love this. Look at that village. Christmas Village it's called. Christmas Village. Look at that. It's just the best of prairie schooler to me. The color, the solid blocks of color. I love that. Very nice. I want to stitch that one too. I want them all stitched. Okay, Blackbird Designs, here we go. Now I did Christmas Rose, that's part of this series of 4. This one is Feliz Navidad. You've seen this probably recently. Quite a few people have been pulling this one out and working on it. And I want to do that one. It'll look nice by Christmas Rose, the one I did to commemorate my mother. And, oops, don't get that mixed up here. And this one is Bringing Good Cheer. Blackbird Designs, again. It says Merry Christmas at the bottom. Love that basket. I love baskets. And another Merry Christmas. Oops. Blackbird Designs. Merry Christmas. Now, I want to stitch them. Where will I put them? I don't know. I don't know. Unless I leave them in Kentucky and don't get to see them at Christmas time. That's a possibility. Okay, this is a relatively new one that I just had to get. It came in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitches magazine. This was last year, 2021, called Dancer by Barbara Anna, yeah. Look at that face. Don't you love that? Beautiful. It's beautiful. And this one is kitted up. I got the fabric from Fat Quarter Shop. And it's DMC's. There's the fabric. I'm gonna love that. And I would finish it in the hoop, just like the model shows. I really think that's darn. And that one's kitted up, ready to go. Now, in addition to that, I have, like I said, a whole bunch of freebies that I can't show because they're just charts. So I think I have enough Christmas to keep me pretty busy with no place to store it, no place to display it. So, like I say, don't let me get away with buying more Christmas patterns. So, and there are some out there that are already on my wish list that I would really like to do. But again, I've got all these that I'd like to do. And so stop already, because I don't know that my kids will want these or grandkids. I hope so. I hope it's not just a big old trip to Goodwill when I'm gone. So anyway, okay, haul. A new book came out from Blackbird Designs, and of course, you know, we all buy all the Blackbirds. This one is When the Leaves Fall. Book with beautiful projects in it. Again, Blackbird Design beautiful projects. I got this from Kitten Stitcher, and I'm not going to pay postage just for one thing when postage will cover something else. So I also bought a fat quarter of Cream and Sugar by Fiber on a Whim. Fiber on a Whim has become one of my favorites. I love the feel. It's nice and soft, and this color, Cream and Sugar, is just beautiful. Very subtle color variations. Oh, that's wrinkled. It's not going to show the colors, but very subtle variegation. It's beautiful for a sampler. Just beautiful. Okay. So that's my haul. And I have no business getting any more haul, but I've got some coming. So plans. Next year, I want to concentrate on samplers. I checked my bin. I have 20 samplers that are fully kitted. 20 fully kitted samplers, and I need to get to them. I love them all. I want to get them all done all at once, but I have to have a plan so that I'm working through it. So I will continue having my focus piece 7 days in the month. I will continue stitching on a red sampler, and I've already selected my next red sampler because Helene's Schnoor is done, and I'll show that in my next video. And I have to figure out how to get samplers in without overwhelming myself. I'm afraid if I get too many big things going that I'm not getting finished, I'll kind of get like feeling like going to class without having my homework done or something. So I want to be careful about that. So Christmas at Hollyberry Farm will continue to be my focus, and I have my new red sampler picked out, and when I come back next time, I'll have a plan for working on samplers. Okay, well, we are approaching the big holiday, as is the snowstorm that's working its way across the country, you know, 2 big events happening at the same time. What luck. So I hope you are able to enjoy whatever holiday your family celebrates. I hope you're able to enjoy it, and that family and friends will be able to get together and have good times. Stay safe. Be careful if you're driving someplace. It's going to be treacherous. And Mr. Enabler and I were just saying, I can't remember how long it's been since we've driven in winter weather, you know. And it's going to get freezing down here, so that'll be a fun adventure because I don't know, we have exposed pipes and under the mobile home, and I don't know. What do you do to keep your pipes from freezing? I don't know. We'll find out. So I'll be back in a couple weeks. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the new year. Bye-bye.